Hello, my name is Josiah Ramirez, and I go by Josiah. It is easier to say than my first name, Josafat. This is my critical presentation for my humanities class. And today what I'll be presenting is this amazing device called the Antikythera mechanism. And throughout the slideshow, I have many pictures of Greece. This is Santorini here in the background. So go ahead and enjoy those as I present. So join me. This is the Antikythera mechanism, and I want to answer a very important question about this mechanism, and that is, what is the value of this piece or artwork, or in this case, this mechanism? What is its value? And this is what I want to determine in this presentation. So let us continue. At first, I had an instinctual response, and this was a Dionysian response. And when I first looked at this object, I was so intrigued to know what it was. I didn't know what it was at all. I couldn't guess as to what it was. All I knew was that it looked very old, and I saw that it was very worn, and it looks to have been carefully built. There is just so much time, it seems, that was spent on its design. And when I look at all of the holes and all the carvings and lines, all these things speak of a meticulous creation, and I find it very amazing and quite frankly very interesting. And here is my Apollonian response to this device. And I had this question: where was it found after all this time? How did it survive over 2,000 years in the ocean? And how did the ship it was on wreck? Did someone not want it to exist, or was it by natural means that it was lost? And I will explain these two former questions in detail in the next slide. But I also had this question: what was the reason for creating this mechanism? Where was it built, and how long did it take? And who built it, and why? So, many of these answers are in the history of the Antikythera mechanism. So let's go through its history. And as I began to research, I found that it was actually on a Greek ship that transported coins and ceramics when the ship suddenly sunk somewhere between 50 and 70 BC, and we know that it was about this time because these coins and these ceramics actually dated back to this time. So we don't know why the ship sunk. It could have been plunderers, it could have been natural causes, like a storm or an accident. We do not know, but we do know that this ship later in 1900 was discovered by Greek sponge divers off the Aegean island of Antikythera, and that it was studied rigorously by scientists for almost an entire century until finally groundbreaking discoveries were made in about the 1970s and 1990s. And what these scientists discovered was that this device was found to be the most advanced machine of the ancient world that could interpret the solar system. Quite amazing, right? And because of this, this device was called the world's first computer. It was also called the oldest geared instrument in the world. And as they further studied it, they found that the inscriptions that were on it were actually Corinthian inscriptions. And these Corinthian inscriptions suggest that it was created somewhere between 75 and 129 BC. So these are quite amazing claims, especially that it was called the world's first computer for something that was created about 2,000 years ago. So let's continue on with the history. This device was found to be able to predict solar and lunar eclipses, and this helped the Greeks with their Pan-Hellenic games and agriculture. And you may be wondering, what are Pan-Hellenic games? Well, let's go through a little bit of that. The Pan-Hellenic games are actually 4 sport festivals that were held between every 2 to 4 years in 4 different cities in Greece. And so these Olympians, they were called in that day, would come and join these Pan-Hellenic games and compete every 2 to 4 years in these cities and win trophies, prizes, and just honestly, fame and reputation is one of the main reasons why it was done. So the mechanism helped them determine the dates and times of these sport festivals. And it also helped them tell the seasons for agriculture. So they were able to use this device that you see here in the background, and this is a digital imaging, to tell them when it was the best time to plant their crops and grow and do their agriculture. And so now it is actually said that the device mirrors the philosophy of Aristotle and science of Archimedes. And Aristotle was, as many of you may know, I mean, just a huge contributor to philosophy. He was the student of Plato, and he's the reason why we have so much ideas of philosophy. He studied things like physics, and he studied things like uh, things that were very influential to the way culture is today, things like right and wrong and all those concepts. And Archimedes is said to be the reason why we have analysis and calculus today. The device was a product also of an advanced Greek technological infrastructure that was destroyed and is said to have been destroyed possibly by Greeks uh, fighting Christians, and these Christians were enemies of the Greeks, and they wanted to destroy the technology that was coming out of Greece at the time. Possibly Catholics, we do not know exactly why, but this is what has been discovered. And some of the artists and crafted work about this device is, first off, the author is unknown. We don't really know who created it. It was maybe created by Hipparchus of Rhodes, a beautiful island in Greece, Rhodes is. We know that it was made from bronze, and that is actually the earliest bronze device to have ever been made, or that we have discovered has been made over 2,000 years ago. It is similar in size to a Mantel clock, which is one of those old big clocks that you see in like Beauty and the Beast in the cartoon. And wood chips were detected on it when it was discovered, and these wood chips told us that it was possibly housed in a wooden box. It was discovered all together, later separated into 3 parts, which are now about 82 fragments. And 4 of the fragments contain those Corinthian inscriptions that we talked about earlier. And this device had 30 gears, has 30 gears. Each gear has between 15 to 223 triangular teeth. And when you turn a knob on the side, it engaged the largest wheel, which rotated once every year. And other gears that you can turn govern the sun, moon, planets, and pointers on 2 cylindrical spirals. And this mechanism was discovered through X-ray imaging. This is how the function of the device was determined. And so finding common ground with these people and why they created this device and what the purpose of it um, was pretty simple for me because I understand their desire to comprehend our own universe and also their desire to make advances in technology. I think they are both very important accomplishments that a society would want, especially one as advanced as Greece uh, that it was at its time. And I understand them. I understand the people who may have witnessed such a device at its creation, in that I think that they would see it as an accomplishment, a huge accomplishment as them for a people, for Greeks for science, for math, for astronomy. And so I see that and I understand that as we are very focused on accomplishments, these accomplishments today. And the characters, I can understand them. I think we have similar interests. I wanted to discover these things as well as a kid. I wanted to know about the stars and the universe and the galaxy and all these things. And I can understand these the reason why they would create something so amazing for such less advanced people. Um, and I just qu find it quite fascinating, and I identify with them a lot. And finally, having discovered so much about this piece, I want to give my final evaluation on it. And I want to say first and foremost that this piece is not only intricate, but an amazing historical piece of machinery. It's just amazing how much detail went into it, how many gears are in it, how many inscriptions are in it, all the details of the calendar, all those things are so amazing. It shows how intelligent and capable the ancient Greeks were. Very intelligent. The mechanism tells of their high pursuit of the cosmos and desire to discover, and no other ancient mechanism has been found to be able to depict the stars like it in its time. It is truly groundbreaking and fascinating, and I love it. Here are my works cited, and thank you so much for joining me in this presentation.